Hi, everyone, and welcome to another A&B Horror Movies video. I'm Aaron,
I'm Ben.
and today we are very happy to have the cast and masterminds behind the new werewolf film, Wolf Hollow. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Thank you for coming on.
Yes, this is going to be fun. We can't wait to talk about the film. So first, we have Mark Cantu. You're a writer, a director, a producer, an editor. What did I miss? You wear many hats.
Catering, casting director. Yeah, there's quite a few on this one, but yeah, writer,
lots of
director,
roles.
producer, editor. Yeah.
Yes, so I guess it's fair to say then that you are the mastermind behind the film, but we'll get into that in a moment.
I'm one of them. Yeah.
One of them. Okay. Let's see. You're the founder of LWF Films. You founded that a number of years ago. You've directed other movies as well, including Massacre Academy, Average Joe, Night Zero, Elite, and now Hiring, just to name a few. So a very, very impressive lineup. Thank you. We're
Thank
happy
you
to
very
have
much.
on.
Appreciate that. Thank you for having me.
So next up, we have Noah Welter. Noah, you're an actor, a director, a writer, and you happen to be the lead actor in Wolf Hollow. And this is your first big role in a major film. So how awesome is that, right?
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Can't wait to talk about that. So welcome. We're happy to have you here.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Very cool. Next up, we have Brian Suponis. You're an actor, a producer, a writer. You play Bart in this film. You guys are brothers, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Let's see. You can also catch Brian in Bereavement, Done Waiting, Chapter 2, as well as Massacre Academy. So welcome, Brian. We are happy to have you.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
And last but not least, we have Christina Krakowski. You play Alex in the film. Hi, Christina. You're an actress, a writer, a director, and a producer. So also many hats, which is very impressive. You play Alex in the film. You can also see her in, let's see, maybe I got this wrong, Done Waiting 2, as well as Massacre Academy with Brian. Is that right?
Yeah, I had a little cameo in Done Waiting too, and then Massacre Academy was actually the first time meeting Mark and Brian.
Awesome. Well, we are very happy to have you all on. We can't wait to talk about your new film, Wolf Hollow, that's coming out very soon. We're going to ask you about the release date in a moment. But first, Ben, I'm going to turn it over to you to ask the first question.
Yep. This one's to Mark. So how did Wolf Hollow come about? Was it an idea you had for a while, or did you sort of see a werewolf movie and think?
So Wolf Hollow actually was it kind of like all good ideas, it just kind of like popped in there, but it wasn't a fully formed idea. We were kind of at the end of Massacre Academy, or actually I think we were kind of right in the middle of a break towards the end, and we were finishing up, and I kind of was starting to think about like what's the next thing that I want to do, and I knew for sure that I wanted to stay in the horror genre, but I didn't want to do something typical, because Pittsburgh is known for zombies, and like I said, we've got a lot of access to zombie memorabilia and the malls and stuff like that. So so I didn't want to go down that road, but I wanted to try something different. I wanted to try something effects heavy, and I wanted to say a few different things about family and kind of evolve my thinking. And one of the things that I always thought, even since I was a child, was werewolves have never gotten enough love. Like they just never have. Like vampires have always kind of been the key horror figure, and I've always gravitated more towards werewolves anyway. So it was one of those things where I was starting to kind of think about the next idea, and I wanted to stay practical, and I was like, you know what, I'd love to give a werewolf movie a shot. And so that little tiny nugget popped in there. It wasn't fully formed, but it was there. And so like every idea, I just kind of let it sit there for a while, let it simmer, and then I'll kind of come back to it and say, okay, what do I want to say with this? And I'll kind of evolve things over time. And so by the time I vocalize it to anybody, it's kind of a fully formed idea by that point, but I've been sitting on it for 6 months or so at that point. So so that's kind of where the initial idea kind of came from.
Oh, nice.
Very cool. Let's see, over to me. Noah, I have a question for you. What was it like playing the lead in the film? So like I mentioned, your first full-length movie.
Incredible, frankly. So I grew up watching horror movies, and like that was a big part of my life. And the amount of times that I said to people, I just want to be the lead in a horror movie, is unfathomable. It's like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of times have I said that. So getting to actually be there on set with all of these incredible people, creating a movie that I love and had so much fun doing, it was like the best experience, the singular best experience.
Very cool.
So you look like you had a lot of fun with this. It was a fun film, so it must have been fun to you. So my next question would actually be to Brian, Noah, and Christina. What was it like working together, and what was the most difficult part of shooting when you was all together?
It was terrible. These people are all terrible, and everyone.
I was going to say the same thing.
You know, that's funny. I was going
The
to chime
truth
in and say
comes
that
out.
too.
I was just saying the same thing too.
I need to just go back to one thing real quick, because Mark, when you said it just popped in there, Ray from Ghostbusters just popped in my head when he's like, "It just popped in there." The Stay Puft
It just popped
Marshmallow
in
Man.
there.
It just
Yeah.
popped in there, and you said it like, "Oh my God, where's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man?"
That's exactly it. It's exactly it.
Sorry, I grew up in the '80s. You know, that's what.
Yes, I can
No,
relate.
these guys, Christina and Noah and Mark are just they're just tremendous people, first off, which makes it so easy to work with professionally and in a job, because you know when you go to set, you're going to get everything that they have. They're going to be fun to be around, and it's just going to be a blast to work with. So I loved every minute of working with these three, as well as the rest of the cast that Mark had assembled. It's just a pleasure going to work with them, because they're just good people, and they're talented as hell.
Good
That's
answer.
so nice. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
No, I would say, like, honestly, it was cool because, like, I had not worked with Noah before. So it's always awesome getting to meet newer people and create something really cool out of it. I worked with Brian, so I knew what to expect. That's a good thing. And Mark as well. So it was really cool getting to work with people I was comfortable with, but also meet some new talent.
Awesome.
Christina, I have a question for you. So you're in one of the scenes, you get in a pretty fierce fight, right? Some serious punches are thrown. What was it like filming that?
It was awesome. I loved, that was probably one of my favorite things, was getting to do like my own stunt work and get
Very
to, you know, beat people up. So I had a lot of fun with that for sure.
Did anyone get hurt? Any injuries in real life?
I think we kept it relatively safe. I think there's one fight scene in the RV that happens. And I think during rehearsal, one of us did get bopped. I'm pretty sure it was me. Don't really remember. Things were moving very quickly. But during actual filming, I think we were able to keep things relatively safe, which is good.
Very cool. Safety first.
Right.
So this one's to Mark. What was the finding location and everything like? And was all the locations pretty close together, or was it?
Yeah, we actually got pretty lucky. So the initial location, and this was kind of fortuitous at that time, was I wound up actually going to, because the majority of the movie takes place at this haunted hayride that's locally here in Pittsburgh, North Versailles. It's kind of all in the same general area. But I had actually gone out. I got invited by another girl in the film community here in Pittsburgh, and she said, "Hey, I work at this haunted hayride. Why don't you guys come out and just take a look at it? And it'd be great to bring your kids out." So I wound up going out there just on the off chance. I was like, you know what? Let me just go out and have a nice night, take the kids out for Halloween. And so I wound up walking through there, and pretty much every location you see in the movie, I wound up walking through at some point on that initial kind of pass through. And it was just one of those things where I was like, I was starting to formulate the idea, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. And then I saw the location and I was like, we're shooting something here. And I know for a fact where I want to shoot these things. Because as I was going through, I was like, wow, this would be great. That would be great. That would be great. And sure enough, like we probably went back, Christina, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we went back probably a year later after we had our Massacre Academy premiere, and we did our official location scout for the first time, where we officially walked through and said, let's choose this, let's choose that, let's choose that. But for the most part, I had kind of already been there. So it was really, like I said, it was just blind luck initially, but then the more like I knew what we had at our disposal, it was having the conversation with the property owners. And then after that, we had a bunch of locations that are here in where it's a town where I live called McKeesport. They're pretty small locations, but we know the city officials, so they kind of let us kind of come and go as we please. And so there's not a lot of pushing and prodding and trying to get permits and all that. So we kind of know what's available to us already. So we're able to kind of pick those things out pretty quickly. So there's not a lot of resistance, luckily, with our locations. So yeah.
Awesome.
That's cool.
Well, it looked great. I would add.
Yeah.
Well, my question is sort of for everyone, but Mark, I'll start with you. There's definitely an ensemble cast in this film. There are a lot of characters. There's a lot of moving parts. What were some of the challenges with making a film with a lot of actors and a storyline that can be kind of complicated throughout? And
yeah,
I'll leave it at that.
Right. It's definitely trying to, and Saponis and I have talked about this, especially in like the editing phase. It's trying to remember, it's kind of almost like the ping pong ball energy, where it's like you kind of have to know where that ball is at any given time. Like there's even just basic, like there's a scene with the mayor in the mayor's office kind of towards the beginning of the movie. And even in situations like that, like sometimes you forget where the energy needs to be at any given moment. And so Saponis and I, like, we'll kind of work through things, but a lot of it comes from just the writing stage. Like you're just kind of trying to remember, okay, who's driving the story at this point? Who's driving the story at this point? And it's working with people, like I said, like Saponis, like Christina, because Christina was able to see the first 2 or 3 drafts of the script. So like she kind of saw the progression. She kind of understood where we were going. And sometimes she'll have suggestions. Sometimes Saponis will have suggestions. So at that point, it's just kind of getting down the communication first and foremost, like who's got a suggestion to move the story here, move the story there, and being sensitive to what the story actually needs to change or keep. And once you're on set, as long as you've done all your homework, the day actually goes relatively smoothly because you already kind of know what the moving parts are. You know who needs to be emphasized, you know who doesn't at that point. So as long as you do a lot of your prep, the day seems to go a lot faster. So
that makes sense. How about others? What was it like working with so many different actors?
I'll jump in. It was so much fun. So I got cast in what would have been September, the year prior to us filming. So it was 8-9 months until we actually filmed. So I had this like image of all of these scenes and being on set with these people for nearly a year. So by the time that I actually got there and like walked up, it felt like these were my best friends already, and I just went up and hugged everyone. And it just ended up being cool. 2 weeks of hanging out with some of the most incredible people and just like being friends and then making a werewolf movie in the woods. It was a lot of fun, and it helped that the entire cast is just insanely talented.
It's like horror camp at that point.
It was. No, it literally was. We went out to the woods and played horror camp.
Excellent.
I think the cool thing about that too is with that kind of cast, you work with. When we did Massacre, it's a little bit smaller of a cast, and then you come to Wolf Hollow and you've got all these different actors. And the cool thing about it is when you go to a scene and you're working with actors you haven't worked with before, you're getting a whole different level or type of energy that gives you stuff to work with as an actor. And it just makes it really neat to see, okay, I don't know where the scene's going to go. I know how it's supposed to go. I know what's supposed to happen, but somebody's bringing different energy and bringing choices that you hadn't thought of. And it just takes things to a whole new direction, which makes it really, really fun. And you get to do that every day because now I got different actors on a different day. So that's what I really like about the big cast like that.
Awesome. Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, I was going to ask, this is to everybody actually, but the first question is to Mark. How did you get Felissa Rose say yes to the movie, and what was it like working with her? Yeah.
So Felissa had actually been on Massacre Academy. We had actually worked with her previously, and we had the good fortune of having her on that. She came in and literally did a day on Massacre, and we were able to get her out in like 4.5 hours or something like that, something ridiculous. But she was the absolute sweetest person in the world. So by the time she left the studio that day, I was like, look, we're going to work on something else soon. I know we are. And she gave me her email, like we exchanged phone numbers, and we just stayed in touch throughout the whole process. And so as I started writing Wolf Hollow, I kind of had Felissa in the back of my head. I was like, I'm gonna earmark that, so hopefully we can get her for Evie. And I kind of would feed her little information here and there and just kind of say, look, I'm writing this thing. I've got you in mind. Just kind of be aware of this. And by the time she had the full script, I think it was probably like towards the 7th or 8th draft, I was able to finally send it to her. She was fully on board. She was like, I get it. I love it. And absolutely, I'll do it. So,
That's awesome.
and then
Yes.
it doesn't hurt that like our producers are actually like solid friends with these people, so that they've worked on other projects with them as well. So it's not like they're just kind of coming into just a random team. They've got connections with us. We're bringing on producers that are their close friends. So everyone's kind of a big happy family. So by the time they get to set, it's just all comfort at that point. So, but Brian's probably the one that shared the most screen time with her.
I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was that like, Brian?
It was great. She's obviously done so much work over the years, and it's just nice knowing that when you start a scene or do something, it's just so natural. It's just so easy to fall into the scene with her and fall into what you need to do in the scene, because you know that she's going to deliver what she needs to. So it takes a lot of the pressure off on the day, because you're just going in there and just being kind of a husband and wife werewolf family, and without
Yes.
the pressures of like, okay, I got to make sure that you're going to do okay, and I got to do okay, and we're going to kind of match and mesh and everything. So it was really easy to work with her, and she's like Mark said, she's an absolute sweetheart. So she's very giving.
And a horror legend, right? You also had Lynn Lowry on, who's fantastic as Marla. There's a lot of comedic elements there.
Yeah.
And Hannah Fearman from VHS. It was very cool to see her.
Yeah,
Amazing
absolutely.
cast with all of you, and like the horror legends, like I mentioned. So congrats there.
Yeah.
I've got to ask Noah.
Go ahead.
What was it like? What did you think about working with Felissa? Because there's a part in the film and she's like basically screaming at you, saying, and your character is like really cool. He's like, I've come home. But when she's screaming, I'd have been like, what? Because she put her full into it. It was really good.
So the best part is she would do that in between takes to me too. She'd just walk by me and be like, "You're the worst," and just like start screaming at me. She's like, "Don't worry, I'm just getting into character." Okay.
Oh, that's awesome. So you were afraid of
is-
her once it started rolling.
Oh, 100% of the time. But it's so funny. She is one of the singular nicest people that I have ever met, but also one of the singular most talented. So you have both of those like in the same place, and she's great. She is just so wonderful.
Cool.
Agreed. I have a question about, so I mentioned the comedic elements. I think the Marla's character was really funny, especially when she breaks her leg. I don't want to give too much away. I also really liked the Lucky character when he says something like, I don't think I can die, I'm immortal. Oh my God, I actually rewatched the movie at the gym and I was laughing on the elliptical watching him again. So I guess my question is, Mark, did you intend for these comedic elements in the film when you were writing the script, or did they sort of just play out naturally when you were filming?
Oh no, they were 100% there from the beginning. And what's funny is if we kind of rewind back in our heads, we actually had the read through, and most of Brandon's dialogue, like as Lucky Steve, I'd say 80% of it is on the page, but 20% is like it's all just Brandon just riffing and just kind of going off, especially in the like when he's on the live stream. But it was so funny because we got a really good sense of the comedy working at the read through, because we were like, is this going to work? Is it not going to work? Because my intention as a writer is to go, I want to be able to hit them with a lot of violence, but then undercut it immediately with something horribly funny, and just kind of keep that tug and pull, like just going at that the entire movie. And we got that sense immediately as soon as we had our read through. Lynn Lowry killed it in the
Mhm.
read through. Like even from like 1,000 miles away in Atlanta, she was just crushing it by
She
Zoom.
was hysterical.
And then
yes. Mhm.
Brandon was the same, and you could feel it working already at the read through. Like this is gonna be okay. Like we're gonna be perfectly fine. And so yeah, it was one of those things that was always there from the beginning, but you can never plan on exactly how it's gonna work. And I couldn't have gotten luckier, pun intended, with everything working as well as it did. So yeah, it's always been there from the beginning.
Awesome. It came together really well. There's one little scene in the beginning when Lynn Lowry tries to close the curtain and it doesn't close, and the look on her face is priceless. That was great.
So that was a mistake. That wasn't planned.
Oh,
And so that was one of those things where like we were in rehearsal and that happened, and I was like, keep it. Let's do it again, but let's keep it. Let's do one more take like that. And so it's just,
good.
I love the look of her just kind of being like caught behind the curtain and just kind of like, I can't. It's typical Marla at that point.
And when she starts howling, I just wanted to throw that out as well when they're walking through the woods. It's so good.
I've got a question for Christina. At the end, you are quite a badass character. Reminded me a lot of Ripley from Aliens. So I just wanted to ask, if you was given the chance to be in a franchise to be like the lead female character, what would you go for? Aliens or Scream or whatever?
Oh man, that's a really good question.
Wolf Hollow. Wolf Hollow.
Wolf Hollow. Wolf Hollow. I would want to be in Wolf Hollow. No.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. Can I be in the
Yay.
next movie now?
Good choice. The sequel.
So no, but besides Wolf Hollow, I don't know. I know a lot of the inspiration did come from Ripley and Alien, and I think like I finally got around to watching it, and I was like, yeah, this is really cool. Like that would be cool. Scream would be cool. When I was younger, I always watched a lot of like horror films, and I just fell in love with them, similar to Noah when I was really young. And I always wanted to be like a final girl. When I was younger, it was always around, Scream or Halloween, like the original Halloween. I loved both of those films. So probably a similar franchise would be really awesome.
Oh, cool.
Cool. We do have some trivia questions, and we want to talk about your favorite werewolf films. But before we do that, can you guys talk a little bit about when Wolf Hollow will be coming out? Like, what's the release date? What the premieres are? How people can check it out? That would be great.
Yeah. So we're actually we're signed through Gravitas Ventures, and they actually have us releasing on digital and cable VOD August 8th. That's the plan right now.
Excellent.
So August 8th, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you'll be able to pre-purchase before that, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember the exact rollout of that. Like 30 days before that, I think they give you an option to purchase it or whatever.
Pre-order. Okay.
August 8th is the VOD date that we've been given. And we also have screenings on August 27th. That's going to be at Smog Castle. That's Kevin Smith's theater in Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey. So we'll be there Sunday, August 27th. And then we will also be at Gross Fest, which is August 5th. That's here in Pittsburgh. So, yeah.
Any other horror conventions that you'll be attending?
I think there's a couple that we're working on right now, but we don't have definite answers yet. So as we kind of get those confirmed, we'll probably roll those out like on our Instagram, our Facebook pages, things like that. So.
Okay, cool. And last question, will there be a physical copy so I can put it on my shelves behind me?
So yeah, we actually do have, so we have the rights, the ancillary rights to actually be able to generate those. So we do have copies of the Blu-ray, copies of the actual DVD. We were offering those through the Indiegogo campaign as well.
Oh, cool.
But if not, if you want to pick one up from us, like I said, feel free to reach out to us directly.
Yeah, definitely. Let's talk after this.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, cool. Why don't we let's switch gears a little bit and talk about our favorite werewolf movies. Brian, why don't you go first? What are your top 3 werewolf films?
Well, the first one is a little known film. It's this obscure director. His name is Mark Cantu. Follow.
I think I've heard of him. Yes.
Yeah, he's an up and coming. You want to keep your eye on this guy because he's going places. Wolf Hollow is clearly far and away my number one.
Good choice.
And my number two is
Brian got the part. That's how he's. That's why he's sticking around. That's it right there.
I know how to kiss butt, man. You know, many years of practice. Number two is Teen Wolf. Michael J.
Yep.
Yeah. Again, child of the '80s. And number three is a recent one. I think came out in 21. Werewolves Within.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty.
Oh yeah, that was
fun.
the comedic. It's a comedy, right? A horror comedy.
Yeah,
that was good.
It was actually surprisingly good. I didn't know what to expect, and I started watching. It's actually kind of good. So
it's funny. Yeah, it's clever. Let's see who wants to go. Great choices. Yeah, good lineup.
Thank you.
Noah, do you want to go next?
Sure. I'm gonna reiterate one of them. Werewolves Within is incredible. I think comedy horror is like the pinnacle of entertainment. Wolf of Snow Hollow would be my second one, and American Werewolf in London would definitely be my third.
Good choices. Yeah, Wolf of Snow Hollow was a nice surprise. That was.
Yeah,
I really liked that one too.
Yeah, it was fun.
Awesome. Christina, do you want to go next?
Sure. So I actually, confession, I did not have as wide of a spectrum for werewolf movies as I did before Wolf Hollow. I also want to come back for the sequel or for any future film. So Wolf Hollow is my first favorite movie ever. So Wolf Hollow is number one. But actually, I mean, I guess this doesn't really count as a movie, but I always loved the original Twilight Zone series with Rod Serling. So there was an episode of that called The Howling Man, and that one had a element of werewolf to it, and I remember it really sticking with me. Like out of a lot of the episodes, I was like, that was a really good one. So that's definitely a favorite. And then I watched some of Teen Wolf, and that was really good too. But everyone should check out Wolf Hollow.
Yes,
of course, yes, and we agree there.
Absolutely.
All right, Mark, you're up next. What are your top picks?
So my top three picks, oddly enough, I'm not going to be self-serving and say Wolf Hollow, although I really want to right now. I would actually say, so starting from the bottom, I would actually wind up saying Werewolves Within, obviously, because that was definitely it was definitely a movie that we watched in the lead up to Wolf, where we're like, we want to make sure we're doing horror comedy the right way. So that's definitely one of the ones that we watched. Dog Soldiers is the other one that we absolutely were like, we need to be in this, as long as we're in this ballpark, we'll be all right. So, but Dog Soldiers was definitely number two. Honestly, I'm going to wind up actually saying, and I know I'm going to get crucified for this, but The Howling and American Werewolf, I think, are great movies. But for me, for the nostalgia bit, simply because it's a simpler story, I actually go Silver Bullet. So that's
a great one.
So,
yes,
because again, Corey Haim's performance is really good in that. I think that's kind of overlooked. But yeah, like American Werewolf and The Howling are great. But I think, like I said, just for story purposes, I think Silver Bullet's actually really good. So there you go.
Two of my top threes, and then Ginger Snaps I grabbed.
That's another good one. Yeah, that is actually good. So oddly enough, like the Howling Werewolves, we actually, when we were getting the suits ready for Wolf Hollow, when we got offered the chance to do the Eevee Wolf, we actually made sure that it looked, like I said, it was one of the ones that looked like the Howling Werewolf. We were like, that's the one, because it looked scary, it looked vicious, and that's definitely the inspiration for that one.
Yes, and there's one scene like in the courthouse when the wolf rises up that reminded me of The Howling. It was a nice homage there. Ben, before you go, I do want to ask quickly, what transformation do you think is better, an American Werewolf in London or The Howling?
Me? You're asking me?
No, anyone. Yeah, Mark. I don't know.
All right.
Mark, what do you think? What would you choose?
If I have to choose, honestly, I would say American Werewolf, just because it was
It
so
is good.
revolutionary and because it was
Yeah.
in
Mhm.
fully lit room.
Mhm.
The Howling is definitely more atmospheric. But if we're talking about simply the nuts and bolts and technical aspects of it, then it's American Werewolf,
American
like hands
Werewolf.
down. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Agree with that.
And Brian, you agree? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I feel like the Howling transformation though deserves more attention. I think it's definitely a contender.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Mhm. All right, Ben, go ahead. What are your three?
I chose Dog Soldiers, American Werewolf in London, and the remake of Wolfman. Because I'm not a
That is a good one.
Superman. Yeah,
That's good.
I mean, it wasn't super film, but I thought the change in the room when he's strapped to the chair,
Yes.
CGI goes, it was actually quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And
I'm not,
that one's got really good atmosphere as well. Like if you look at
Yeah,
the production design on that one, it's absolutely amazing. So
yeah, it was really good. So, but I do go more for the practical effects side of movies. I kind of miss that these days.
and I did actually see one, and there's one that's kind of like maybe an honorable mention. It's kind of one that flew under the radar, but it's a movie called Howl. And that one was actually
yeah.
a UK movie as well. And I was like,
I think I
it
have
wasn't
that,
terrible. It was actually quite good. It was really good. The werewolves are a little bit more humanoid or humanistic. What the term would be for that, but they're not fully kind of formed faces or anything like that. So it's got its critics as far as the werewolf design is concerned, but I think it's actually a pretty good atmospheric little movie. So
Yeah, it was good.
I need to check it out. I haven't watched it yet though. Before we do trivia questions, Ben, you should share with everyone that you live near the bar in an American.
Oh, yeah, I live about an
the
hour
slaughtered
away.
lamb. Yeah.
Yeah,
do you
I do, yeah.
really?
Is that cool?
And I also live 45 minutes away from the flat where he gets locked out of.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh,
So
in the
I've
film.
got my
Oh, that's
picture
cool.
outside that and stuff. Yeah, so
I
That's
told
so
him we
cool.
got to do like a live video, and he can say, "Here I am at the slaughtered
Yeah.
lamb."
Yeah.
All
I
right.
think the most weird place I've ever been there was the Enfield Poltergeist house, because you was just expecting it to be creepy, and it's not. Yeah,
Oh, the one from The Conjuring? Is that one?
yeah,
Conjuring
yeah.
2, right? Ah, cool. All right. My dog's barking in the background. Hopefully you can't hear her. We do have some werewolf trivia. Let's go ahead and start with an easy one. In what 1981 werewolf movie did television news anchor Karen White get mixed up with a colony of werewolves?
The Howling.
The Howling, yes. Ben, do you want to do the next one, or do you want me to go through? Start with an easy one. I can do the next one while you find it. Let's see. A bad moon was on the rise when two young Americans, David Kessler and Jack Goodman, left the slaughtered lamb and headed across the English moors in an American Werewolf in London. Who played David Kessler? The actor's name.
I know all these, but I'm not going to
choice.
jump in.
Mark, you're gonna have to take one more
Mark.
take for the team. So
Am I going to take all these?
Wait,
for the
wait,
team?
wait.
Yeah.
take them all for the team. It's okay.
It's multiple
Okay.
choice. I'll read them out. David Naughton,
Okay.
William Ragsdale, Jason Patrick, or Kiefer Sutherland?
David Naughton.
David Naughton.
Yes, David Naughton. Okay, maybe that
I'm
one's
okay.
easy.
I'm
You're gonna you're bringing out the geek. Now I'm transforming into my.
That's okay. At least with the multiple choice, I'm a fighting chance. I don't.
Well, here's one that
There
we
you go.
actually mentioned already. Stephen King wrote the screenplay for what 1985 scary movie, which starred Corey Haim?
Silver Bullet. Yeah.
There you go.
I'm back.
Okay, do
Um,
you want to do the next one? 1987?
What 1987 film united all the classic monsters? Dracula, the Gremlin, Frankenstein, Monster the Mummy, and last but not least, the Wolfman in a plot to take over the world.
Monster Squad.
Such a great film.
And I almost said that as a werewolf movie, but that would be a cheat, I guess. But technically,
It's in there, right?
yeah.
Let's see. Who controlled the werewolf Velkin Valerius in 2004's Van Helsing? Is it Count Dracula, Frankenstein's monster, Mr. Hyde, or Anna Valerius?
Isn't that Dracula?
Thought it was
It
Count
is Dracula, yes.
Okay, yeah, I only saw it once, and I was like, never again.
Yeah, I know, never again.
Christina, we're doing really, really good.
We're
I'm
really
proud of our,
carrying
I'm
guys
proud of
are
us right now.
kidding.
We're
Yeah, yeah.
carrying
You're
here.
killing it, man.
That was going to be on my list of top werewolf movies, Mark. Van Helsing.
Sorry.
No,
Sorry.
no.
Ben, do you want to do the next one or do you want me to?
I'd love to, but I've lost the questions.
Oh, okay, I can do it. Let's see. Christina Ricci had watched after her teenage brother Jimmy since their parents' death, but could she save them both from the curse of the werewolf in what 2005 Wes Craven film?
Cursed. I feel so
Cursed.
terrible right now.
Mark, you're a secret
Let's see.
weapon. Okay, that's why
Ah.
we brought you.
Mark, you need to get out more,
It's a good
man. You need to get out.
Trivia
Seriously.
night.
Get out more.
Honestly, you need to get
Oh
out.
God.
My goodness.
I know. It's terrible.
You got him back yet, Ben?
Yeah, I think so.
Go ahead.
Since the night that publisher Will Randall was bitten by a wolf, his energy level and confidence had soared, but the beast within was taking over him. In Wolf, who played Will Randall?
Jack Nicholson.
Yes.
Yes.
I guess we don't need to read the multiple choice. This one might be tough. What is the setting for the classic werewolf film Dog Soldiers? What country are they in?
Is it Scotland?
It is Scotland. Oh my God, you're good.
Yeah.
Ben, do you want to do the
Werewolf
last
Jeopardy.
one?
Mark, you're supposed to say, "What is Scotland?"
What is Scotland? Sorry, guys.
This was the
This is the
first
last
film
one.
to win an Academy Award for Best Makeup. Do you want the answers, or do you want to?
Mark,
That's American Werewolf, right?
there you go.
It was, yes. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh,
Gosh.
you killed it.
Thank God we're good at this, and there's
Yeah.
we just kind of
Yeah.
I'll be your
Thank my
guys'
team
cheerleaders.
for
It's
helping
okay.
me out through that and being supportive.
We're here for you, man. We got your back.
We're here.
Way back, but we got it.
Yeah.
All right, well, this has been awesome. Make sure you check out Wolf Hollow. It's coming out in August. It's an awesome werewolf film. If you're a fan of werewolf horror, then this is one you should definitely see. Before we go, why don't you all share how folks can find you on social media? Mark, do you want to go first?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, guys.
I was just saying, Mark, do you want to go first?
Oh yeah, it's me. Sorry, it's
Sure, Mark.
totally me. So yeah, I'm actually on Instagram under Mark Cantu 98. Wolf Hollow's under Wolf Hollow Official Movie on Instagram. Other than that, on Facebook, I'm under my name, Mark Cantu. You can find us on Facebook for Wolf Hollow as well. Just type in Wolf Hollow and you'll see the page there. So, yep.
Awesome. How about you, Brian?
Noah. Okay.
Or Noah, it's fine.
Noah, go. Noah, you go.
Okay, fine. So Instagram for me as well. It's at Noah_Welter. That has a link to literally the rest of my life too, if you want to see that.
Awesome. Christina?
Tina.
Oh, okay. So you can find me on Instagram, which is just at Christina Krakowski, as well as TikTok, same handle. And if you want to keep up to date on my projects, you can find me on IMDb as well.
Awesome. And Brian, how about you?
I'm pretty much only on Facebook, and just like Christina, you can find pretty much everything I've done on IMDb.
Excellent. Well, thank you all again for joining us. This has been great. Wolf Hollow is a fantastic film. We both loved it, and it was an honor to talk with all of you today.
Thank you guys for having
Thank you
us.
for having
Thank
us.
you.
Fun.
Thanks.
Yep. Go over to Instagram, YouTube, follow us over there, like and subscribe, helps our channel. And I just want to say congrats to you guys, because it was a brilliant film and I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Awesome. Bye, everyone.
All
All
right.
right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.